Tell Ernest he can stand at the door.
I'd like to call this meeting to order, please. Please make a note that we're 2 minutes late, not due to the board, but to Facebook and the internet. So with that in front of you is your agenda. Is there a motion?
I make a motion we accept the agenda for the special call board meeting.
Been moved and probably second. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved. The acceptance of the notice of special call, it was put out in time. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to accept the notice for the special call board meeting.
Second.
Moved and properly second. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved. At this time, Mr. Superintendent?
Yep. We had a declaration from the governor, and that governor's declaration addressed sporting events, and it changed some of the previously defined protocol for sports. And I've asked Preston to put together a PowerPoint presentation and kind of walk you through. It gives you not only what his recommendations are. The problems we ran into is the recommendations actually end before our real football game begins, and our first football game is the Vicksburg High Warren Central football game. And due to the fact that it is all of our community, and it would be both sides, it would be a super spreader opportunity. We felt that there was something that needed to be done for that particular game. We expect him to come out with another one that will address the beginning of September, but we don't obviously have a crystal ball. So we're going to put that before y'all to make a decision, and of course knowing that we will adjust if a different order comes into play. So Preston, if you will, can we share the screen here?
Good afternoon, first of all.
Good afternoon.
Athletics and activities play an important role
Last one, right? Yep.
in the academic, social, and physical development of our students that are in high school as well as junior high. It is our job to create a safe and orderly environment for them, our spectators, and our community. Based on Executive Order 1518 from the governor, that's what this order is around. It says, first paragraph, further measures necessary to keep all Mississippi K-12 schools open and further reduce community transmission of COVID-19 is to temporarily limit attendance at K-12 outdoor and indoor organized extracurricular activities or events to allow these events to safely continue. So we want to make sure that we build a plan through you guys that will enable us to continue to keep our community safe. That is our main priority right now. And the game that we're more concerned with is the Vicksburg Warren Central game, because this is all of Warren County that could be in a designated place at an athletic event come September 4th. So we want to make sure that we put this on the table and discuss it with you guys. Next slide, Mr. Speaker.
Oh, I'm running it, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
you got it? Okay. So it says attendance shall be limited to 2 attendees per student participating in the event. So that includes band, dance, cheer, and football players. So based on conversations with athletic directors around the nation, around our region, our state, as well as our locale, there have been several options that have been put on the table in a lot of webinars that I've sat in. And I've put a couple of those together as we talk about the impacts that it could potentially have on our community. Within these parameters of this executive order, we have to wear masks, and we'll touch on those things as well as the safety protocols that have been established by Mississippi High School Activity Association as well as the governor. So with that being said, we do have indoor events that cover our volleyball, which we'll talk about briefly, and then our outdoor events again, which are primarily football as it relates to the Vicksburg Warren Central game. Next slide. Okay. So how does this executive order impact Vicksburg Warren School District athletics? Well, it will help us to create a safer environment for our athletes, our coaches, our community, and spectators. Sports that fall under this again are cross-country swim, volleyball, and football, and this could help reduce, or it could reduce revenue loss to the athletics department because of the limits, but they can will allow the district to devise plans for future indoor and outdoor activities for the rest of the semester as well as the school year. Next slide. Creating a safer environment for athletes, coaches, community members, and other participants. Based on that order, attendance again shall be limited to 2 attendees, and this carries through August 31st, 2020. This game is scheduled for September 4th, 2020, with the next board meeting being August 27th, 2020. So it's imperative that we meet today to discuss these options. There are 4 options to create a safe environment for all stakeholders. This is above, and this is again for the Vicksburg Warren Central football game. The first option, we'll have full participation. Based on our numbers and talking to the coaches, we have approximately 511 kids that are involved in band, football, dance, and cheer from both schools.
511 with both schools?
Combined. So if we take that number and multiply it by the 2 attendees and then add them back into the equation, that'll give us roughly 1,700 participants.
Right.
Which means that our first option is we will stick with what the governor's plan is, limit those 2 attendees, and we continue with the executive order. Option number 2 is that the student participants only with no spectators. Again, we want to make sure that we create a safe environment for them to be able to carry on over the course of the year with no spectators, but we will live stream it for free through Facebook or through another platform, as well as option 1. Option 3 would be football only with spectators. There are roughly 200 football players between the 2 schools. You multiply that times their 2 attendees, some of which may or may not show up, that actually will be, counting them will be 6, with free live stream through Facebook or another platform. And then option 4, football players from both schools only, meaning that we just play a football game with no spectators, no cheer, no band, no nothing. These have been the 4 options that have been given across the board. Some districts across the nation are picking either of these that relates to bigger games, and we want to present these to you to see what your recommendation will be. Again, live stream services will be conducted through Facebook Live, and we will still offer our monthly NFHS pass if they choose to use it.
Preston, can I ask a clarification on something, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, option 2 says student participants only. So it would be all band, all football players, cheerleaders, and dance from both teams, but no spectators?
Correct.
Is what option 2 is?
Yes, ma'am.
Option 1 is full participation, everybody's there, but only 2 people per participant?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So when you talk about that, and we've had a lot of discussion about who those 2 individuals will be, we're not going to select who those individuals are. That'll be up to the child and to the parents who those 2 individuals will be, and we'll set up a process of how they will get those tickets.
Can I ask if there's a 5th option that we only allow seniors to have?
Yes.
'Cause that's,
Check those numbers too, because you've got that data,
Yeah.
we only allowed seniors to have
spectators.
spectators.
So I've talked to the coaches and directors from every group. We've got a total of 75 seniors across the board with football, band, cheer, dance, everybody.
Both schools?
Both schools. And we run those numbers as well. I took them out, but that is a 5th option that I can present.
Which would be 511 plus 150.
Yes,
So you'd be looking at 671.
yes,
Okay.
Mr. AD,
yes, sir.
which one of those you like?
Which one do I like?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready to tell us which one you
Can
like?
I
or
keep
you got
going
more?
first?
He wants to keep going. He's fixing to sell it
Let him
to
get
you.
slides out.
It depends on where we're looking at, but For each of these, I've given pros and cons. The major pro for me is that the kids will be able to play. Okay, we've given them an opportunity. MHSA has given us great guidelines. The governor, I thank him for this, because now everybody's on the even playing field as it relates to revenue. But our kids are able to participate. That is a major pro. Cons with all of these, other than option one, well, all of them, is that you do not have full community support. But based on the 15-18, we couldn't do that anyway, because of regulations and because of those policies to create safer environments. There will be some revenue loss, as you'll see as we carry through, as it relates to the athletic department, but there also will be some revenue loss by those individuals who are running our concession stands. Those concession stands are run by booster clubs, but on the flip side, they also fuel and power those other activities and sports that they serve. So we'll skip past those because we can read those, but I will give you what my recommendations are based on revenue and how it benefits our kids from the main pro, that our kids will be able to participate. And how do we do that? We put together a plan. I'm sorry, I just got cut this on. Is it?
All right, it's rolling, you do it.
All right, so,
You want the pro one, option one?
option one, take me to revenue. Keep going, yeah, right there. So based on a regular event, I need to make sure that everybody knows what we normally do on a regular event, if this were not in place. Per ticket, we sell $7 general admission tickets, which means every ticket through whichever option we choose will be $7. In the past, we've had a $10 reserve seat fee. We're trying to make sure that everything is equal across the playing field with all spectators if we allow them to come. So we'll keep a $7 fee. There will be no Viking or Gatorade passes because we only get 2, and we need to make sure that we account for tickets that are being sold for accountability. And we still will sell our NFHS live stream passes. I think there's been some confusion there that it was so much per game and it was overly expensive, but it's $10.99 for a month pass where you can watch any school across the nation any night of the week for $10.99 for that month, or $69.99 for the whole year. You do the same thing.
Would you repeat that one more time, please?
It's $10.99 for a month. You get to watch any school from California to the East Coast any day of the week, as many times as you want. $10.99 a month or $69.99 for the year, and that includes everything. Expenditures. We have cost of referees, 8 per game, which is roughly about $760. We have security for this particular game, which would be about $12, $13, $48, and then the cost of an announcer, $60. So with that being said, I put together another slide of if we were to stick with, this is last year's game. This is what we made off of last year's game, $13,454. Now, this does not include our Viking Air Gatorade passes, but based off the ticket sales, this is what we did last year. Now, we will take a hit either way it goes with either option. That's neither here nor there. We expect that with the pandemic. So option one, as you see, you take the 511 student participants, buy that 2 attendees at $7 a ticket. We'll have or make roughly $7,154. That's if everybody has two attendees to show up. And you subtract that, the difference of whatever the total cost would be for us as expenditures, and we should make about $5,000 off of that game.
How are we gonna police the 2 tickets per person?
That's a very good question.
I mean, are we gonna sell them to the kids and then the kids can give them away? I mean,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
think that would be the.
Yes, ma'am. That way the kid and the parent are responsible for where the ticket goes. I've been joking with Mr. Sheila that.
So
they
it
may
wouldn't
wanna
be
give-
buy it at the door, it's
No,
gonna
no,
have
no,
to be
no.
pre-sale.
And if they're not pre-sold, we will not sell them at the gate to make
Right,
up.
okay, that's what I
We
thought.
want to make sure that we cut down on transmission and possible exposure.
Right.
So for option 2, if we just go with the participants and no attendees, we'll be in the negative roughly by $2,000. No revenue from live stream because it will be streamed for free. Option 3, we'll make $766 if that's just the football players and their attendees. Tickets again will not, if they are not picked up, they will not be sold at the gate. And then again, if we go back with just the football players with no spectators, we'll be in the red again. So, future actions, and I will go back to Coach's question. We will plan to stay with the structure within the order until a different decision is made by the board, by you guys, or until a new order is issued by the governor. If spectators are allowed, we will offer baseball-style concessions. And what does that look like? Everybody's been to a baseball game. We will try to cut down on transitions, meaning that people have to get up to go to the concession stand. Based on the order, if you make a transition to the bathroom or to the concession stand, you have to wear a mask. Who's going to police that? That's a question that we're fighting. Is it going to be our SROs? Is it going to be our principals? Will it be me running the event? There's a lot of questions behind that. So to cut down on that travel and that transition, what we'll do is we'll do baseball-style concessions, and everything will be prepackaged. So nothing will be cooked behind the concession stand. It'll be prepackaged and sent out to our crowd.
So we're gonna make we will have some type of announcements also made at the beginning of the game to explain the rules of the road, that we have to abide by these so we can continue to do this.
Yes, sir.
If we don't continue to do this, we won't be allowed to facilitate.
Yes, sir.
That's the first question. Second question is, the police department and the sheriff's department are always at these games.
They will not be at these.
No, sir.
Okay.
They won't. And that's another kind.
Oh, there's less people, so there's.
Yeah.
Mr. Naylor,
Yes, sir.
also, oh, go ahead. Go ahead, I can try to remember mine.
Preston, as the crowd decreases
Mhm.
in option from 1 to 4 and 5 possibly, why do we still need 23 security
Yeah, that's my
guards?
question.
Okay, so it depends on, we still have to have people to monitor what goes in and what comes out. Now, that number, of course, would decrease if we have, could possibly decrease with no spectators.
Right.
But we still have to police the teams that are on the sideline and make sure that they're doing their job. So to give us adequate security to make sure that we're doing what we need to do, 23 is just our mark number that we've been using.
And granted, it's not the money to
Yes.
be, it's just more people
Yes.
in the stadium.
Yes, sir.
But if we could decrease that number from 23 to 20 to 18 to 15 with each
Sure.
option or whatever,
Sure.
it might save us a smidge. It ain't about the money to me
Yeah,
at all, but I'm
yeah.
just saying, it might save us a smidge here and there. And it's less exposure to our people.
It is, and that's great. That's a very, very good point. And we've cut down, I wish I had a video or a picture. We've cut down so much on the amount of traffic that we've had at the past at our stadiums because of the new construction. So with that being said, we have cut down on that, which can eliminate and has eliminated some of our security. But based with this COVID stuff going on, we do want to make sure that we put people in the proper places to help us police. But those numbers will drop. Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Oliver.
Okay, my next question is, will anybody, including the football players, the coaches, if we have cheerleaders, band, everybody, all right? So everybody is going to get temped?
Yes.
Yes. Everybody that comes through the gate, even the workers of that game, will have to have their temperature taken. So as I come in, Mr. Shooter comes in, you guys come in, everybody's temperature will have to be taken, even if you're working the game or you are a player.
And every player as well.
And every player. And what they've given us as a whole school, which will be the whole school either way it goes, we have the responsibility of making sure that our teams communicate if we are playing somebody else in the future, whether we have somebody that has been exposed and may be sick, and they are to do the same thing for us. So moving forward, it's almost like a gentleman's agreement to make sure that we keep our kids safe and to keep the opponents safe as well. So.
And to the point, and we're not there yet, but to the point, the executive order ends on August the 31st, and this game actually begins September 4th. So in the September 4th, you have leverage to add administrators and the board to the ability to go to games, but before that, August the 31st, we're excluded from that. So I can't even go, well, I mean, I guess technically I could, but you couldn't because you're not a board member. Well, you're not
I'm
you're not an
a
approved
child. I don't
person,
have a child.
right?
Right.
Right. And if
But
we,
you've got to be able to go.
well, correct. I was a bad example, but the question was asked specifically, and the governor gave feedback that it does exclude board members. So they were asked specifically about that, and it unless you are working the gate or you're working that limits everybody. So, and I would be a game official technically, so I could. But
Yeah, you get to hear the big game official.
Oh, nice.
You like that, right?
Yes, I do. Mr. AD, a couple questions. Right now, there is a mandate for masks, so even if you're sitting in the bleachers, you'll have to wear a mask, correct?
Correct.
There's no time I can pull my mask off,
Out,
technically.
that, his outside recommendation in the order, and it states that once you're seated, you can take your mask off. If you are
Indoors.
social, outside,
Yes, outside.
not inside. Inside, you always gotta wear it.
Mhm.
Outside, once you sit down, you can remove it if you are seated next to someone in your immediate family
Or
or
household.
if you are social distance.
Yes.
But it does encourage, and it follows it up in parentheses, but it encourages masks to be worn at all times.
I think, and I'm assuming, but I think that, and you may want to check with Ms. Burke on this one, that under the contract with the security people, that may be already included in.
What do you
So we
mean?
may be already paying the money for the guards.
Okay.
But check with her because I'm kind of shooting from the hip, but I think, and that would may erase something. We're already paying for
We include that in our
the
contract.
games and everything. And also, I need you to check with Ms. Burks on, with our working cash stabilization fund, you saying the max we're gonna lose is gonna be $2,000. I think we have enough to take care of your $2,000. If not, I'll get Chad to pay it for us.
Yeah, TK got his check, right?
So, but with that, I think we have enough in the bank to, if that, for this one game, then I think.
To cover the gate.
Yeah, I think that would.
And I'll be honest, that was one of, regardless of what we do, and I don't,
But this isn't gonna be a one-game thing. I mean, we're really looking at that we need to be prepared that this is
And we're gonna
the
need to be
entire
consistent.
season this year.
Well, and consistency is great, but see, what you're gonna be looking, and Jim Sturgis' opinion, let me rephrase that. Jim Sturgis' opinion is, yes, consistency is good under normal circumstances. We are in abnormal circumstances now, so with, as the AD spoke of earlier, we're talking about all of Warren County right now.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
on
This
this
is a
game.
big game.
So what we need to look at this picture is the Warren County picture, because right now, supposedly, the cases are either stable or going down. And so that's what we need to look at for this game, but Pearl, South Panola, Starkville, well, we gotta go to Starkville. But those games are a little different than just here in Vicksburg. My opinion, only Jim Sturgis' opinion. So, Brian, I agree with you that yes, we should be consistent under normal circumstances, but at this time, I don't think it's really normal, my opinion.
Well, I mean, wouldn't you want to, I think we've kind of told everyone that this all is fluid, we might change,
Yeah.
but it would be nice if we could come up with something today that would give people what to expect.
If the
I mean,
order
just-
stays in
unless-
effect, if
unless
the order
conditions
stays in
change.
effect, yeah. Legally, can we do it that way? Can we, whatever decision we make today, if the order goes back into effect, that the decision we made today then could continue if that's the way? I mean, this would be
Because
our,
we
yeah,
expect her to issue.
the
an order.
recommendation
Does that make sense?
that we're making is one for the solution for the Red Carpet Bowl, because it's us and us, and it's a super spreader event to our community, because technically, you're gonna have double the amount of people that would be in
Right, I understand.
an event. If you lay that one aside and we come up with a decision, what we're asking to do is stick with the executive orders moving forward, or any other decision y'all make,
I see, okay.
moving forward until we get another governor's
I see.
declaration that changes that. And the reason we wanted to do that is because you got, if we're not gonna have spectators, or if we are gonna have spectators, or if they're gonna be limited in whatever avenue, we wanna give the opposite team as much notice as possible.
So I see what you're saying,
So we just want to go ahead and say we're doing this one because it's so close to the board meeting. But just know we'll call a special call board meeting to adjust anything we need to. But it's going to be our recommendation is to move forward
Just 'cause Jim
with the
wants this, right.
current governor's declaration until he changes it.
I got you, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, I understand. Thank you.
But back to the clarification on the finances, I would like to make sure that we don't have any students that have a decrease in anything that comes out of the normal gate or concessions that can be spent on students, I would like for us to be able to take that money and fill in that loss. Because even though it's if it's a quarter or, 2 for every spectator, there's a big gap of money that's usually spent, and I don't want our kids to go without. And as Mr. Sturgis points out, this board has done an amazing job of creating an avenue where we won't be financially hurt over this situation. So just understand that there'll be budgetary adjustments coming to bring things out of general fund back into athletics, regardless of the decision you make. So I wanted to agree with you definitely there. But for clarification purposes for today, we're asking for a specific answer that y'all feel comfortable with for the Vicksburg-Warren game. And then moving forward, we'll have the other events. Now, scrimmages are completely different. And you can talk about that when you're ready.
Now, with the question came up, what about next week's game as it relates to our scrimmages with both football teams? We will be playing because Vicksburg does not have a home right now because of the construction. And we all know why that is. We have moved their games to Warren Central High School.
Would
Now-
you explain again why, sir? Just to renew everybody's, please.
Say that as one time.
Explain it.
The reason why Vicksburg is not playing
Gotcha.
at
We
Vicksburg.
were waiting on fixing the water issue that was leaking under the stands. We had to let it dry out, and it took longer than we anticipated because of the amount of water that sat there. And because it sat there so long, they couldn't just put some up and then it fall back down in 2 years, and then we're back in another situation like we were 4 years ago. So to make sure that it's done correctly and it's done in a timely manner, they had to push it back until the weather was conducive to dry it out so that we can build on good ground.
And there was also a plumbing issue
Yes.
that the city had to fix in order for us to be able to move forward, and that time frame took longer than we expected.
Yes. So with the scrimmage, we want to look at that as being an extended practice. I've asked if Vicksburg could play on the 27th and Warren Central play on the 28th, and we've been told that we cannot play before the 28th. So we can't move that game to that Thursday. So that means that we have to play both of those games on a Friday, which means Vicksburg will have to play at 5 and the Warren Central right after. And that's 4 teams that will be playing in one stadium. To clean locker rooms, to clean stadiums, to clean balls, to make sure the field is prepared and disinfected. My recommendation is that we just have we just have the teams play, use as an extended practice, and now we can gain some understanding of what we need to do for not only that week, but for weeks to come, and allow the teams to get used to playing with the certain stipulations that they have to play under.
No cheer, no dance, no band.
Just football.
And no spectators.
And no spectators.
Okay, I'm cool with that.
I'm cool with that.
And then with volleyball, the only situation with volleyball, if we go back.
I'm already on it. It's at the bottom. Oh, go ahead.
We've been pretty consistent with volleyball. Our numbers range from 70 to 100 fans per volleyball game in the past, which Vicksburg, moving back, we will have to play at the junior high all of our varsity volleyball games because our gyms are under construction at the high schools. So we're balancing a lot of stuff right now in the district, but we're making it work. So with that being said, even if we were to keep our numbers low, volleyball is fine. We can socially distance in Vicksburg Junior High's gym. Warren Junior's gym is kind of hard. It only seats 322 people. On the 29th of August, Warren Central is hosting a round robin with Florence, Pelahatchie, and Vicksburg. The coaches have asked, and they've requested, and they've agreed that they just have the players from all teams at this event. We don't charge, we don't have any spectators because they want to keep the kids safe. I totally agree with them, and we will Facebook live stream for free that game as well as the scrimmage game on the 28th. To make sure that we do give our fans and our community an opportunity to watch.
And that's because we got 4 teams, and I know y'all know how round robin works. Team 1 plays team 2, and then team 2 plays team 3 and 3. And so the kids will have to remain on campus, and the logistics of that just didn't make any sense for spectators. So.
So based on everything that's been given, I've had to do a lot of thinking about what's best for our kids. And after talking to a couple of people in other schools, this decision for y'all will be a hard one. I understand, but for me, based on the work that's been done and the amount of people that we can have, 1,000 people roughly at this game, I do not foresee it necessarily being an issue having spectators at the game. What I do have an issue with is us policing masks. That is my biggest issue. People sitting in the stands, make sure that their masks are on. Making sure that we have somebody there to make sure that they are telling them to put their mask on if they have to go to the bathroom. Make sure that they're doing what they need to do, sanitizing, things of that nature. That is my biggest concern.
How do you do, you know, if someone's not cooperative?
They're dismissed from the game.
They are. And we've spoken with our SROs, and they are going to stand behind administration as it relates to those people not adhering to those policies.
But we would have every transition spot for spectators, we have to have, per the order, we have to have someone stationed.
Yeah.
So that would be someone at the bathroom, someone,
And that'll be one of the 23 security guards?
correct,
That's what we're figuring?
apart gate, and then have them intermittently within the bleachers to address any issues. But, you know, they're going to be, if they have concessions, they're going to be eaten. If they don't have concessions, they won't be eaten. If they, you know, if we don't have any fans, we don't have to worry about any of it, obviously. But if we have fans, and specifically seniors, which we can work those numbers out too, that would be less spectators than obviously everybody getting to go see their kids. But, you know, I think there's just several decisions, the first of which I'd like y'all to make is, do we have visitors or not? And if the answer is no, then that makes all the rest of this kind of clean. If it's not, then we'll just kind of move through what y'all want as it relates to who those visitors are.
Can we get your recommendation?
May I say something
Okay.
before if I may,
Yes.
please? If we can kind of regurgitate what has happened in the past, we had several parents and church members, ministers, to talk about going all virtual because they were afraid of what might happen. Well, let's put this in context. If you're worried about that, why do we need spectators in the stands? And so I'll leave it there, and it's all yours, Mrs. A.D.
You want me to pick it up?
No, I mean.
What's your recommendation?
My recommendation again is either way, I don't mind spectators after thinking about it because we can social distance. The problem I have is how we're going to police masks. How are we going to make sure that people are wearing their masks during transition times? Are they going to be compliant? When you don't have spectators, you don't have to worry about that. But giving parents an opportunity to be there for their kids, I get it and I understand. But the mask thing is a big issue for me.
Well, I think that when you're looking at just 2 people per child, that it's either going to be mama and daddy or older brother and mama,
Right.
you know, kind of thing. So you're looking at immediate family members, and I think that you're not looking at the, and I hate to say it that way, but you're not looking at the student body.
Correct.
So you're not looking at the part that we normally have
Yes.
to police as
Yes.
much.
That's true.
So without the student body in the stands, I don't think that the mass policing is going to be as difficult on that end.
Especially if they understand upon entry
Yeah.
that this is the
Well, I mean, if
expectation.
they're getting temped when they come in, and I think we could tempt them and say, you have your, you know, if they come up to get temped and they don't have a mask on them, then they
They
can't
don't
come
get
in.
in. That's correct.
So if they're wearing their mask when they get temped, then you say, you have to keep it on. And we make sure people are aware. I mean, the cheerleaders can paint 5,000 signs and put signs all over the place.
Okay.
Coach Steve?
Mr. A.D., I got 3 questions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first a statement. Because of the game that it is, the Red Cotton Bowl, and it's the only one that's played in the state. And with that fewer numbers in the stadium at Warren Center in Vicksburg, it could be social distance without problem.
Right.
The thing that I want to know, you said that the police and the sheriff's department, I'm concerned about, people staying around the parking lot. And, you know, I know if you get, we know who's going in, but you're gonna have that little group that wanna come into the parking lot, ride through the parking lot, or try to sit and try to see as much as they can see or hear as much as they can hear. I don't, could they, you know, because our SROs are gonna be in the stadium. So outside, just to make sure that we don't have that convocation group that's gonna hang out. I just want, well, I can't go in, I wanna hear the game, I wanna be in that
They
percentage.
said they'd help with parking, didn't
They
they?
did, they
They just won't come in the stadium.
Inside the stadium.
Oh, that's great.
So-
And now,
Which I understand when you've got a
Right.
limited amount of SR.
the Red Carpet Bowl has been great to us for scholarships for both schools. Now, will they be able to, because they're not paying any, I know they're losing revenue, but they do a lot of advertising on things, so will that advertising with the shirts and stuff that they do, are they gonna do it this year? And will the scholarship thing continue?
All right, so we have a meeting on the 25th, and what we've been told is that they are still doing the T-shirts, they are still advertising. That's how they're going to get their money for those scholarships. Now, with that being said, I want to point this out. The Red Carpet Bowl that we're used to seeing
I know.
is not going to be the Red
Right.
Carpet Bowl this year.
I
It's
understand.
only a name
Right.
for this game. So it won't be no eating with the Big Tent.
Right.
It won't be
Yeah.
socializing, all that.
Yeah.
This is just for
tradition.
keep the tradition, but also to you know, build momentum for those scholarships over the course of the year.
And I spoke to one of the board members, and they assured me that they had money and would offer scholarships to students regardless of their decision.
Great. Are you ready to vote? I'd like to make a motion that we use one.
Let me go back. I know you got it, but let me go back. So you can say.
Because this is the only time, see, this is a community. This is the only time you're gonna have your whole community together. You know, and we can't get together for that one. You see what I'm saying? I mean, if you've been in Warren Central Stadium, if you've been in Vicksburg Stadium, 1,700 people, it's not, and you talking about the whole, it's not a lot of people.
What's the maximum capacity?
Shoot, about what,
6,000?
6,000?
How many people you normally have to sell tickets to?
To sell tickets,
Not including the band and everybody, but how many people we normally have in the stands that we've sold tickets?
it varies from year. Last year, like I said, I think we sold right at 2,200 tickets. Now, that's just tickets sold at that week. It doesn't count those passes. We couldn't, I mean, that information is kind of skewed based on the number of passes that we sell every year. With faculty that come in, they come in with their IDs, and with people with state passes, so tickets that we sold was close to 2,200.
I think it's a lot of people.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second? There's a motion on the floor, is there a second? It died for a lack of second.
All right,
Do we have any other?
we have
We have, that was option one, do we have any other options?
We have student participants only with no spectators. We have football only with spectators. We have football players only, no participants, no spectators, or anything else you'd like to propose.
No, and we are talking about right now just the red carpet.
Just Warren
Yeah,
Central.
this is just Vicksburg Warren Central,
Okay.
because we'll address the next motion
Okay.
y'all gonna make after this.
Preston, did you say there's 75 seniors at both schools?
Yes,
Combined.
That's band, cheer, football, everything?
yes,
Our
sir.
two biggest groups, Warren Central Band only has 24, and then Warren Central Football has 22. So those are our biggest groups with
So
seniors.
if we let all the students and just seniors, how many would it be? We won't have that up there, do we?
Say
Is
that
that,
again.
you know, 100
All the students, band,
511, 511 plus
Participants.
75
all
times two.
participants plus just the senior parent, two tickets for
150
each
plus
senior.
that, you're looking at
I got it written down.
661,
Yeah,
give or take.
yeah.
That's what I like. I think.
Can you tell me how they're planning to, how they're gonna handle the band? As far as where they're sitting, what's the space gonna be between students and all that kind of
They'll
stuff?
have to social
So
distance.
they got a social
6
distance.
feet.
Now, what that means, 6 feet. And of course, with Warren Central's new side that was built, we have enough space for Warren Central's band to sit and be socially distant, even with the 160. If all 160 are there. Vicksburg on the visual side, that's where it gets a little tricky because visual sides are intended to be small to make people uncomfortable. So, but we're in a community game, so that's hard to say with Vicksburg being over there on the visual side.
How are cheerleaders going to, obviously no stunts can get done because that's not social distancing. So
As
you're
long as the
saying,
stunt
yes, they
doesn't
are
take more
doing
than 15
stunts?
minutes, you can.
They can start.
They're just gonna
That's
stand
an
there.
They
athletic
can
activity.
physically touch each other and stunt?
Yep,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Wow.
so can the football players.
Well, yeah.
Well, they
okay.
can't stunt,
Okay,
but they can hit.
So-
okay, yeah, okay. Never mind, that was a dumb question. Thank you.
No, you a cheerleader.
Yeah, I just wasn't, yeah, that was in my brain still.
Yep.
Okay.
So there are option 2, 3, 4, or something you can come
So
up
if we're gonna
with.
scratch all 4 of those, somebody propose me the option of what you want to
The
say.
option, would y'all consider the option of letting all participants and 2 tickets per senior for?
Hand me a pen, please.
For that pen?
Yes, sir.
You want, which one, which option?
Which is
that?
really, it's not on there.
So.
It's not on there.
It's not, it's option 5.
So we would be
So
looking
we're
at
saying
all
football
students.
players, all coaches, all band, all dance team for both teams, but only seniors can invite 2 people.
Tickets for seniors.
That's your option?
That's my option.
All students, senior only 2
Yes.
participants, okay?
So when you say all students, you mean all participants?
Participants.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir, I mean,
You
yeah.
say all
No,
students,
no, 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 no.
Participants.
Well, I mean, that'll also give us more room on Vicksburg's side.
Sure.
Yeah,
For the band to spread out.
it would, yes, sir.
So let me just restate, was that a motion, sir?
Yes, that's my.
Okay, let me restate the motion so we can all be in clear conscience here. All participants that will participate in the Vicksburg Warren Central football game on September the 4th, this is the only game that we are discussing tonight.
Well, not tonight.
Excluding the scrimmage, this is the only game we're discussing tonight. So please do not think this is for the whole season. The only game that we're talking about with this motion is Vicksburg Warren Central, September the 4th. That being said, the motion is that all participants plus all seniors will get
Senior
2.
participants.
Yes, thank you. Senior participants will get 2 tickets to the game.
Mr. President, before you
Okay, there, yeah, question.
question, this, my opinion, my personal opinion, you are dividing teams and band and cheerleaders. You bringing dissension because if that senior's mama can come, that sophomore mama ought to be able to come. You see, that's just how I feel. I feel that, athletics is a team. So if I had a son that was a sophomore, I would be hurt because that senior, he can bring his parents and I can't bring my parents. And we got it.
This is the only game.
That's how I feel, That's
Well,
just personal.
The reason I have a hard time with supporting option 1, I mean, we can always go back and redo another motion, but the reason I have a hard time supporting option 1 is that's a lot of people, and it's in one community.
And it's our first game.
And it's our first game, and this is one community, and so far, we're starting to see a slower spread in Vicksburg. And if we have that many people in the community in one place,
we're gonna have a spread, and then it's gonna affect the whole rest of the school year. And it's like, you know, the Ole Miss coach is the only person who I've heard actually make a statement as an athletic person that made a lot of sense. And it was that it didn't matter how strong the teams are, it doesn't matter how much they're working out in the weight room, that the beast that they have to overcome is COVID. And if the team that is not prepared to overcome COVID is not going to be successful, because they're going to have kids that aren't going to be able to play. And then they're going to cancel games, and then it's just going to snowball. And so I have a hard time with option one, because I think the snowball opportunity is there.
I think it would also, the motion I made would give us an opportunity to learn our processes and to get prepared for how we could, if we feel comfortable with expanding it going forward for the rest of the games when we make that, whenever we do make that decision, or if it scares us to death of how hard it was, we would know what to do, because we really don't know what to do. And to go full bore on the first game kind of scares me.
Yeah.
It's a big game. I mean,
Yeah.
it always is. Outside of the rivalry games we have with other communities, this is by far our biggest game.
Are there any other?
Can I get you to modify your motion to say that this is contingent upon any government or governor's interference?
Well, executive order changes that affects all.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, our executive order supersedes all this anyway, so.
Yeah. Just make that clear.
My motion is option 5, which was for all participants, and for all participants that are seniors to have 2 tickets, to be sold 2 tickets for their use.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Are you ready to vote? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign.
Nay.
Sturgis abstain.
All right, so we got the red carpet bowl. We will have a crowd. We plan on doing concessions baseball style for those. That will limit the people from being able to participate unless you would like to not have concessions. And if we don't have concessions, I would just recommend that we place the money of what an average concession is inside a student activity account to be spent on the students to replace any funds that don't come from an average concession sale. Any concern with the baseball? Okay, so we're good with that? All right.
Hey, Preston, if you would, I would like you, go back to the security deal. Even if we're under contract and paying them a set amount, just let them know that we want them to be reasonable with the amount of people they put on our campus.
Yes, sir.
And if we're doing an option that backs that number down where we can be safer with less people, whether we're paying them or not, let's just try to keep that consideration.
And part of the safety plan, we'll have a site plan where they have to be, so we'll get a real legitimate number over where areas that we need covered or not covered.
But a lot of those,
They won't be wandering, they'll be
but
stationed
a lot of
in a
those you're gonna need,
spot.
whether you need 4 people in there.
Yeah, because,
or
I mean,
100.
we'll need people outside.
You need someone at the gate, you need
Sure.
someone at each stairwell or whatever it is.
Yep.
Well,
And based on-
I think Coach's comment about the parking lot, people are gonna, even if we allowed everybody to have, I mean, we're gonna have people in the parking lot.
Not unless they're parking or leaving, but they're not gonna be out of their vehicles, so we'll have to have people managing that.
Speaking with Officer Sims this morning, that was his major concern, was litter. There will be no litter on the campus. So having individuals there to make sure that we police that as well would be a priority of ours.
So whatever we release, our press release or whatever we're gonna give to the public, let's make sure we say that, we understand everyone's need to want to watch this game. We provided y'all these opportunities, but for safety's sake, for our children, for our administration or faculty, we're not going to be allow you to come on campus unless you are attending the game officially.
Yep. And, with it being said, I mean, Jim was one of the first, but several of y'all talked to me about it. Jim was the first one to say, if we're not going to be able to let everybody in, can we at least provide some mechanism for everybody to watch? And, that's what we've done. I mean, when you talk about we're going to televise or live stream this game, that's the first time we've ever done this. So, there's going to be people that get to see this game that couldn't have gotten to see it before. And hopefully we can get to a point somewhere in the future where we have.
Does live streaming affect our fee that we get, because don't they get money off that?
Oh, say that one more time.
The live streaming, we're live streaming ourselves or we're using the service again?
Well, we're gonna do both.
We're gonna do both of them.
But doesn't that?
The live stream you'll get from Facebook is not gonna be as, because with the service, it has a ball tracking
Yeah.
facility, so it's gonna be probably a little better than what we'll be able to do over the live stream
Okay.
through Facebook, but you can do either.
Okay.
Just
So
if you do-
Cedric's team will be doing the live stream over, say, Facebook.
Correct.
Okay. Good. All right.
Well, and you asked about revenue. No, it really won't bother us a whole lot this first game. I mean, and it is what it is. We will offer both options for any plan.
All right, so moving to, wow, man, am I going the right direction here? Yeah. Okay, the future, what we are asking to do, unless you want us to stick with this format moving forward, after the Red Carpet Bowl, because the Red Carpet Bowl obviously is a super spreader event for our community, you would divide that number in half, basically, for if you allowed all of the students to participate from one school or the other. And then the opposite team would be coming with their folks. And it wouldn't be, other than the kids on the field connecting, the way our field is set up at Warren Central, there wouldn't be an exposure from a visitor side to our side. So if we move forward with the way that the governor has currently structured it, offering 2 tickets to every participant for either the Vicksburg or the Warren Central game on the Warren Central's campus moving forward until he comes out with another
Do we know what that?
decree, September the 1st. And we got games between the Red Carpet Bowl and the next board meeting. So we'll need to make a decision of what y'all want us to do moving forward. Do we continue with, and again, I believe the Red Carpet Bowl is a little different because it's community on community. And when you talk about games moving forward for Vicksburg or Warren Central at Warren Central's campus, we stick with the governor's recommendation until he comes out with another one, which is 2 tickets per participant. That includes band, that includes cheerleaders, that includes all athletes on the field. And then if he comes out with another one, obviously, we'll adjust to that. If it's more restrictive, if it's,
Well, we don't even have to take action on that because technically that's what we're required to do right now.
well, no, you need to take action on it because this expires on August the 31st.
Oh, his order does?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's one of the reasons we had to get now, hopefully he'll have another one by September the 1st and we'll know. But the only other alternative is we just have football like regular. So,
Mr. AD, 2 questions. Do we have schedules for both schools right now?
Yes,
Are we able to look at them at this juncture? Is it in our package?
yes, sir.
Okay.
I gave my full count.
Okay. And, Mr. Superintendent, instead of, my opinion is, and of course, I'm only one vote of 5, is that we do meet next week,
correct.
so maybe we can make that decision on next week, since the next football game, of course, we got the September the 4th, but then we could make a decision that you want to hear us, see which way you want to go, instead of making it today, because
Sure.
I was
What's
under the impression we were just here to discuss. Now, again, if these 4 choose to do that, then I'm
Is there
with
any,
them, I'll
is there
follow their
any
lead.
decision that we need to make that today because you need to tell someone to do something?
that was the turnaround on need to know before the game.
The only thing is, plans moving forward, if we stick with this 2-person attendee rule, is we have to get stuff out to other schools and school districts the week prior to that game. So it may change, it may look the same, but it gives us an
The
opportunity to
decision by
plan.
next Thursday is still give
Yeah.
you.
That's plenty of time.
There's plenty of time.
Oh, that's good.
No, let's let it ride.
Sounds good.
Yes.
So 511 is the combined 2 schools, Vicksburg and Warren Central, right? So
Yes.
just for the sake of our thought process, we use 255 students for Vicksburg, for Warren Central. I know there's semantics in there, but, so if we use 255 as our number, there's gonna be roughly 715 people, 765 people in the stand.
Correct.
Mhm.
which is gonna be about what we're gonna allow at the red carpet bowl. But
Yeah.
they'll all be on one side.
That's right.
Right.
Okay.
No, because what we're allowing on the red carpet bowl, some of it's on the field,
Right.
not in the stands.
Yeah, I'm just saying for our numbers.
I mean, our number for red carpet bowl is the people on the field, the cheerleaders, the dance team, and the band in the stands, and then 75 times 2, 150 roughly.
Plus the travelers. And the
Yes.
travelers, depending on who we're playing, I'm not gonna call any schools' names out, but some don't travel very well. And we're probably not gonna have any problem social distancing those because we didn't have any problem social distancing them before. But other big games we do have, we will have to look at, making sure that that goes out in a timely manner so that we can reduce that crowd if that's what we do. All right, so we're good. We got our concessions covered, we got our transitions covered, we got our spectators covered, and everything for the red carpet bowl and the scrimmage and the volleyball. Anything else?
Let me ask this question, do I need to have anything for the next week's meeting since you, as it relates to moving forward?
Hopefully, we'll have
No,
a
sir.
declaration from the governor by then.
Okay.
But we just, the way I understand it is that, the superintendent just wants us to make some type of decision on what is already
The rest of the season.
ordered
Correct.
in at this time.
Yeah.
So, no, sir, to
Okay.
answer your question.
Perfect.
Do we have anything else?
Make a motion, Derek.
There's a motion, there's a second.
Second.
Been moved and proper second. All in favor say aye, all opposed. We are adjourned.